was an almost surreal scene. Shaking with anger, Mikhail Saakashvili refusing to accept any blame for the sudden war that has smashed his country. Instead, calling Russians barbarians, and with the U.S. Secretary of State looking on, accusing his Western allies of encouraging the invasion through inaction. But as if to underscore what's really at stake, Condoleezza Rice visited a Georgian hospital filled with the victims of Russia's brief, brutal assault. Call it a strong dose of real politics. And proof, the CBC's Nala Ayed explains, of a dramatic rupture in relations between Washington and Moscow.
The conflict that's driving a dangerous wedge between the U.S. and Russia could have been avoided, says the president of Georgia, if the West had acted sooner. The tiny nation is now stuck in a tug-of-war between the two old rivals.
Who invited these innocent deaths here? Who is not only those people who perpetrate them are responsible, but also those people who failed to stop them.
Harsh words given the U.S. Secretary of State is here to help. Pressed by the U.S., an embittered Georgia signed a ceasefire with many concessions to Russia.
All Russian troops and any irregular and paramilitary forces that entered with them must leave immediately.
Thousands of Russian troops have ominously lingered in Georgia for days. They still surround the strategic city of Gori, dividing the country in half and drawing international condemnation.
Bullying and intimidation are not acceptable ways to conduct foreign policy in the 21st century.
If Georgia shares in any of the blame for starting the conflict by attacking the separatist province of South Ossetia last week, its allies in Washington aren't dwelling on it and are instead sending in the military to bring in humanitarian aid. Russia says it's all proof the U.S. is challenging its influence. Today, Russia's president was still defiant. After what's happened, it's unlikely that the separatist regions will be able to live with Georgians in one state, he says. The conflict has left Georgia in tatters. Reports of up to 2,000 civilians dead. All this has left U.S.-Russia relations at a low not seen in years. Bush faces one of the toughest challenges of his presidency, a newly assertive Russia.
If you recall, President Bush looked into Putin's eyes and discovered his soul. Well, he may have missed something.
Analysts say they already see signs of permanent damage to the relationship.
That would be unfortunate for all sides. It's not there yet. Doesn't have to be. But that danger is there.
For its part, Russia said today that strained relationship is about to get worse. Nearby Poland has agreed to place an American missile defense base on its territory, and Moscow's leadership says it takes that as a direct threat. So while Bush said today the Cold War is over, some fear it may be about to make a comeback. Nala Ayed, CBC News, Washington.